Okay, is everybody ready? All right, thank you everybody for coming today. We're here to resolve the dispute of the sale of the spicy meatball. In these proceedings today, the buyer Chad is the claimant, and the seller and his broker Mr. Ficarino, represented by Mr. Moore, and Bill, represented by Ms. Stanley, are the respondents. The proceedings today will be conducted under the International Yacht Arbitration Council.
I gotta handle that.
Ladies and gentlemen, they have a very interesting case to be brought before this esteemed council, and here are the facts as we know them. Before closing, the yacht was damaged by a lightning strike, and the respondent repaired the damages. The claimant alleges that the respondent failed to repair the damage in accordance with sound marine practices, and that the deficient repairs caused the fire that destroyed the spicy meatball shortly after closing. And these are the facts as we know them.
Mosquito in here.
So the arbitrators have had a chance to review the parties' written submissions. Is that correct, gentlemen?
Yes.
Thank you. The seller, Mr. Ficarino, has requested an oral argument. The arbitrators will first hear from Mr. Michael Moore. Might you have anything to say, Mr. Moore?
Thank you, Mr. Arbitrator. I appreciate this opportunity to bring our case before the International Yacht Arbitration Council. And we're mindful that all three of you are experienced and seasoned members of the, the yacht community, the yacht world, as it's sometimes called, or the yacht industry. So we were, in my view, I represent a man named Ficarino, who was a seller of a motor yacht. Frankly, he did everything right. The only thing that's wrong in this action is that we were sued in state court in an inappropriate manner under the purchase and sale agreement for the yacht that he sold to these two buyers who were in all respects treated properly. The seller in this case, Mr. Ficarino, the first thing he did properly was he signed a listing agreement with a licensed yacht broker in the state of Florida, Mr. Bill Boatwise here, represented by Ms. Stanley. And that was the first proper thing to do. And the sale was conducted according to according to law and according to the purchase and sale agreement. The mistake, one of the mistakes that the seller made was he hired an unlicensed individual, an unlicensed broker, a man with if I may say so, a bit of a checkered past. Okay, we don't mean to impugn his, character, but he's not a licensed member of the yacht brokerage world. He's not a member of the IYBA, and the things that have happened in this matter proves that. It proves the downside of that type of behavior. Stated simply, we had a proper transaction. We went to, the buyer went through due diligence. It was his decision to how he wished to do his due diligence. He had a survey. The survey discovered deficiencies. The deficiencies were identified and they were repaired. And he accepted the vessel. And he accepted the vessel as is, where is. Those words have meaning in the yacht world as well as in the law. He went to a closing. And at that point, the risk of loss passed to the buyer. Ownership, possession, and title passed to the buyer. And it's just unfortunate that after ownership, possession, and title had passed to the buyer, there was a situation that it resulted in the boat exploding. The vessel, of course, because of the explosion, caught fire, and the vessel sank. So that's all on the buyer. There is no dispute here, no legitimate dispute, so we have petitioned this tribunal through the IYAC to rule in Mr. Ficarino's favor and to end the award, to specifically set forth that there is no claim, there is no proper cause of action, and this matter should be dismissed.
Thank you, Mr. Moore.
Thank you.
Now let's hear from Bill's attorney, Ms. Stanley.
Thank you. Good morning, Chair and esteemed panel. I'm Jo Colbert Stanley. I'm here today representing the co-respondent, Bill Boatwise. Frankly, and to be blunt, I'm not sure why we're here. And I won't bother repeating the eloquent profferings of Mr. Moore. You know the facts, you've read my submissions, you've looked at the exhibits. And Mr. Boatwise had no duty to the buyer, who isn't even here today, by the way.
He don't need to be here.
My point being that this case was brought frivolously, intended to harass my client, and absolutely overlooking all logical legal concepts. For this reason, I'm submitting that you dismiss my client and award attorney fees on behalf of my client to be paid by the claimant
Good luck
to
with that,
Mr.
lady.
Boatwise. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Stanley. Now let's hear from the claimant, represented by Bubba.
Well, nobody told me I was going to have to submit nothing. Could I use a pen and a paper? Do you need a submission? Because if you don't need something in writing, I'll just tell y'all how it is. You know, y'all with your fancy letters behind your names and all that stuff, you need to understand you're in for a fight. Because I have watched every episode of Boston Legal, and I have watched Law and Order from beginning to end. So I know what I'm doing with this legal stuff. Now look here, waste a bunch of money on lawyers. I don't understand it. It's all right if I talk myself, ain't it?
Yes, it is. You do not need to be represented.
Well, good, because here's what y'all need to understand. Ain't none of y'all never drove a boat. Y'all ain't never worked in a boatyard. Y'all ain't never drove a boat. You don't know bupkis about what it takes to keep a boat running, keep a boat working, and when it breaks, how to fix it. It's simple. You get a good guy, you get his tools, you get on there, you fix the problem, you move on down the road. And I don't know what y'all are making this big fuss about. I didn't do nothing wrong. I didn't do nothing wrong at all. Mr. Ficarino's boat was broke. Lightning struck. It blew up. It's just that simple. Res ipsa lipitor. Denny Crane. You know, the fix is in with you guys. Go Dogs. Good luck with this. When you figure out I'm right and you're wrong, you give me a call. I ain't wasting no more time with a bunch of this BS. Have a nice day.
All right. Yes. Well, Mr. Calhoun is apparently done. Mr. Moore, do you have anything else to add?
I just want to say that I appreciate your service here today. I think that one of the wonderful things about the YAC is contrary to Mr. Calhoun's slander that the fix is in. I think that we are quite confident that this case will be judged on its merits, for better or for worse, and we will accept the ruling of the tribunal. I would like to join Ms. Stanley in a comment she made earlier. I think she's absolutely correct. This case, because it has no merit and because there's a provision in the purchase and sale agreement, and also within the equitable powers of this tribunal, we will be asking, if the ruling is in our favor, we will be asking for attorney's fees. With that, thank you very much for your attention and consideration.
Thank you.